On this channel, $1 Million Made Easy, we love to run numbers for people, both in the accumulation stage and once you reach retirement at the withdrawal stage. We use the actual historical returns of the S&P 500 for the last 100 years, which you see them right here, through the bad decades, the good decades, and everything in between. And so we project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. They won't be identical, obviously, but the resulting numbers are simply a possible range of what may happen in the future. You want me to run numbers for you? Just ask in the comment section. Give me your beginning balance, how much you want to withdraw. In this case, we'll be looking at somebody that's reached retirement and is looking at the withdrawal stage. And we're going to go ahead and give me a COLA that you want me to run it for. And also, if you're getting Social Security, the amount and when you want to start it. And if you have a pension, the same information. Thanks for watching this channel. Let's go ahead and run some numbers here. I'm going to make sure I'm getting this all right because I got quite a bit of information. They said they got 265,000 currently saved up. I guess he's still working because he says he's going to contribute 2,200 a month for another year and a half. He's 63 and a half. He's going to work till 65. So I'm not going to, I'm just going to assume that 2,200, take it times 12, no, times 18, because there's 18 months left until, because I don't know what that 2,200 for the next 18 months is going to do. How is that going to affect this 265,000? I'm just going to say it's going to go in an account, and because the market could go down in the next year and a half. So I'm just going to say you just added that to amount. You're going to come up with 304,000. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's continue on here. Says he wants to have a 3% COLA. I got 3% COLA there. That his wife is already taking Social Security of 1,165. And he's got a pension. He's already taken that. Let's see, 1165. I think I already added this. Yeah, he's getting a pension of 2575. So that equals 3740. So we're going to do that right from day one. First of all, I want to show you what they want to do. They want to take out. They want to know if they can take out 9,000 a month. Well, if you didn't have any, that'd be a 35% withdrawal rate, which would not work. But let's go ahead and kick in the Social Security and the pension. Now you only need 5260 coming out of your nest egg. In that case, you still got a 20.72% withdrawal rate on this money. Let me continue to read here. He said he's going to get a pension at age 63. So I'm just going to put this in. That's going to be 2749 here. So in other words, the first year is going to need 5260. The second year just needs 2511 out of a month out of the nest egg because the rest is coming from the pensions and the Social Security amounts. And we're going to see just how often you'd have a problem. Also, he said he wants to know if he could wait till 67 because he'd be getting 3171. I'm going to go ahead and run the numbers as if he's taken this his Social Security in the second year here or in a year and a half. So as you can see, if the numbers were like 1984, it would be no problem. But as I go down through, you're going to see a lot of reds. Looks like 1985. Let's just count 1989. You're okay. 1990. Now you're running out of money in 21 years. So let's update this for every single year for the last 100 years. Given this scenario, again, I assume that money did not lose any money, but really didn't gain much. I ran it at 304,600. We're kicking in the pensions, the Social Security. You notice 53% of the time it wouldn't work. This is the actual graph. Because what's going on is trying to take out too much money for what he's going to have in savings, even including his pensions. You can see all these different years that you'd be running out of money if the returns are like they've done for the last 100 years. So he really doesn't have enough saved up. Now, if he went down to 8,000 a month, let's see how that might work. That's another thing we can do with this channel. Run numbers for people, seeing that the 9,000 is probably not going to work. 8,000 would be 96,000 a year. See if how far this percentage goes down. Now you're down to 11%. So if he could take 8,000 a month out, then you just have 11% failure rate. Look at the graph now. It looks a whole lot better than the one we just looked at. What else could we do? We could put the COLA down a little bit. But we didn't even do a 70-30 asset allocation because you wouldn't want to leave it all in the S&P 500. Let's go back to the 9,000. I'm just showing what we can do on this channel. Let's do a 70-30. 70% staying in the S&P 500, 30% going into a cash reserve, some kind of a liquid bucket. So when the market's coming down, you're taking these amounts out of that instead of this, because when the market's going down, you don't want it to sell low. So let's go ahead and update this and see. Before it was 53% with 9,000. With the 70-30 split, let's see how much difference it might make. 70-30 split, it's even worse because you're taking out such a high amount. Anyway, without going into explaining that right away, let's go ahead and do a 2% COLA with 8,500. See how that might work out. Again, that's what we do this channel, run all kinds of different numbers. Again, sometimes you're going to have, it all depends on what's going to happen those initial years, really. You get some string of good years like 1990, you can see the numbers right there, you're okay. But you're getting a 36% failure rate at 8,500. There's the different years. If the returns were like any of these years, you would be running out of money. Again, we already looked at the 8,000. I don't think we look at the 8,000 for a 2% COLA. So 70-30 asset split, 2% COLA. How many times when you run on money? That's what we do this channel, run all kinds of different numbers. Okay, now you got a 9% failure rate. Most of those are during the Depression years. And as we've seen in other videos, the only other time you have problems besides the Depression years is the year 2000. Why? Because you had these 3 down years. When you get 3 or 4 consecutive down years, especially when you first retire, that's when you really run into problems. Let me just show you. Let's just go down through here from 1990. These are the numbers, the summaries of these numbers going down through after 10 years, what you have left, after 15, after 20. Watch as I go to 1992 numbers, 1993 numbers. Keep watching this box right here. 1994 numbers, 1995 numbers. You're still okay in 1995. Look what happens in 1996. Just, well, 1997, you're still okay. 1998, after 25 years, of course, there hasn't been 30 years since 1998. You're down to 6,997. Why? Because you're getting closer and closer to these 3 down years. If you start out with those 3 down years, like the year 2000, you're going to run out of money in 13 years, given this scenario. And that's with just 8,000. He was wanting 9,000 a month. And we've already cut the COLA down to 2%. We're doing a 70-30 asset split. So I'm not sure if he's going to be comfortable going down to 9,000 or down to 8,000 and having a possibility of 9% of the time actually running out of money. And if you had returns like we just had 24 years ago, we had 3 down years, then you'd be running out of money in 13 years. Let's run a couple other numbers here. How about if we just have 2 down years? 2001, you're running out of money in 18 years, 2002, and you have money left after 20 years. Not a whole lot, about 124,000. Again, you're only starting with 304,000. So these pensions and Social Security are really helping, but you can see it's kind of uncomfortable, especially if he wants to withdraw 9,000 a month. Let's do one more thing. Let's go to 7,500. Let's go ahead and go back to the 3. Well, we'll leave it. Well, yeah, let's go to the 3% COLA. See what the percentages might be. I think we're still going to have the issues with the Depression years and the year 2000. Well, let's see here real quick. Again, I got the 2002 number still showing. 2,000. You're down to 132,000. If you had 3 down years like we had just 24 years ago, you had 3 down years. Given this scenario, 7,500, which would be 90,000 a year now. It looks like it would work in every scenario with a 3% COLA. I think I updated that. Just make sure I did that. See the difference between going between 9,000 and 7,500? If this individual wants to retire, he's 63 and a half. With this much saved, and again, I'm assuming he's not gaining anything or even losing. He's at 265, but he's going to put 2,200 a month for 18 months. That would come out to 304,000. So in this case, you'd be just fine if he could go down to 7,500 with a 3% COLA and a 70-30 asset split. He'd be just fine in every single scenario except 1929 and 1930 in the 30th year there. But hopefully this makes sense. Let's do one more thing. Let's do 77-50. This shows you the kind of things we can do here. So you'd be safe with the 7,500. How about the 7750, going between the 7,500 and 8,000. Okay, that's a 4% failure rate, which I think that's probably going to start, the year 2000 going to start kicking in now because, again, they had 3 down years. But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. I just wanted to run the numbers for him. If he can go down to, let's just go down to the 8,000 with a 2% COLA. Again, start out with these numbers. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but start out with the lower numbers. And then if you have some good years instead of these initial bad years, they call that sequence of returns risk. If you start out in 2003, you could probably go up to 9,000 a month. Right now, you got a 9% failure rate with 8,000 and a 2% COLA and a 70-30 split. I know I cover a lot of stuff because I can point out all kinds of things on this spreadsheet that I don't want to make these videos real long, so I try to keep them a little bit shorter, just pointing out different things. But you can see the 9,000 is probably just not going to work. 8,000 is going to be okay most of the time, unless we would happen to have a year like 2000, and you'd be out of money in 13 years. How about 2001, where you'd eliminate one of these down years? 2001, be out of money in 18 years. And 2002, when you just have one down year, then you got money left after 20 years, 124,000. But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. Please tell people about this channel. Let them know there's a channel out there that will run numbers, and you can learn from other people's numbers. So please consider subscribing, sharing, and liking these videos. And thanks for watching.